Should I introduce first?
Yeah, if you want to
Cool.
go first.
Excellent. I'm Alison Goodrum, Vice President of Customer Success at Recast Software. Started here in 2021, and you were my first ever hire at Recast.
Yeah, I'm our first hire, Brandon Hammond. I started out on the support team, and now I'm on the engineering team, so it's been a blast. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it should be fun. So the first question we have is, how do Recast customers compare to customers of other companies that you've worked for?
That's a really good question. I would say that Recast customers tend to be more self-sufficient than other customers. I think it's for a couple of reasons. One, just like the people that are drawn to system administration, who is the customer base that we tend to serve, like they like to solve their own problems. You don't become a sysadmin if you want to rely on other people solving your problems. The other thing is that our customer base, they often don't have a lot of vendors that they work with that actively want to work with them. And they are not used to being customer successed. And so I think our relationship with customers at Recast is very different than the relationships that I've had with customers at the other organizations I've worked with.
Nice, that's really cool. Can you tell us about your career journey before Recast?
Yeah, so out of college, I went and became a data analyst for a consulting firm that was local to the Twin Cities. We created financial aid policies for colleges. And so worked for that consulting firm via multiple acquisitions and all of that jazz until I ended up in their delivery department, is what we called it then. Now they call it customer success, and realized how much I liked being in front of the data instead of just the person crunching the numbers. And then kind of my last year at that company, I joined a new product development team where their goal was to launch new products into the market, and they had a very small team of people working on each project. And so it was kind of like a mini startup inside a great big organization. The product I was supporting had zero product market fit. Like we couldn't pay people to try this product. And so it quickly folded. Like I was only on that team for like 9 months, but I realized like how much I liked working with new technology, how much I liked working with smaller teams, how much I liked building things. And so from there, I moved into a startup out in DC where I was living at the time that created enterprise knowledge graphs, are what they called, but it's a different way of organizing data. And so it was a data management startup. And then I joined Recast after that.
Nice, that's awesome. Do you have any advice for someone interested in pursuing a career in customer success?
Maybe I should ask you this, seeing as you were my first hire. I think the field of customer success is very broad, and it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different companies and to a lot of different people. And so my advice to the audience would be to figure out what part of customer success you're most interested in. The CSMs that work at Recast, the people in the customer success team here, are here for a very particular type of customer success. We are significantly more revenue focused than a lot of customer success teams. We're also more transactional. We do more digital touch points than a lot of customer success teams. And so there are people that are fantastic CSMs at other organizations that would not do well here. And so you really have to know, do I like being more revenue oriented or relationship oriented? Do I like working with a small number of customers that are really high risk, high reward? Or do I like to have kind of a broader portfolio? Knowing that about yourself is really kind of the only way that you're going to be able to find something you like in customer success.
Nice. What motivates you?
Just in general?
Yeah.
Man, I am very, very motivated by building new things and building great things. I am not someone that likes working on the incremental progress, that if I'm not doing something larger, then it's not interesting. And so I guess like the deeper motivation there is interest, but it's really building something cool, building something great.
Nice. If you weren't in customer success, What career path do you think you'd be in right now?
I guess it depends when I would have made the pivot. I fully intended on going to law school while I was in college and becoming an international trade attorney. That has obviously not happened. If you were like immediately right now, Allison, what would you do? I would try to take like Haley's job and start working in product marketing. I really think like that part of the tech organization is super interesting. But yeah, something like that.
Nice, that's cool. Do you have a morning routine?
I have a morning goal of a routine. My ideal morning routine is that wake up at like 5:30, get to the gym, do some Duolingo, breakfast, be at the desk by 7:30. How often that happens, I probably average 3 out of 5 days a week. I'm probably averaging 60% success rate on that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What are you working on right now through Duolingo? Language?
I'm trying French, which is very
Nice.
funny because I just got back from France, and so, but I have been motivated from being there that it's actually a really, really cool language. It's very hard, and I would like to learn it a little bit better.
Nice. Do you have a favorite TV show or movie?
I am not a huge TV or movie fan, as many people make fun of me for, but I am a huge fan of Survivor. I'm a huge fan of MTV's The Challenge. Put me in front of a reality game show, and I'm there.
Nice. Do you have any book recommendations?
Oh man, I got a lot. It depends what you're interested in. I just finished a book, Wild Dark Shores. I cannot remember the author's name for the life of me, which is really interesting, like mystery / dystopian / climate fiction, which isn't normally my jam, but I really enjoyed it there. I'm a huge fantasy reader, and so Mistborn, if you haven't read that. We've got, what else have I been reading? Non-fiction wise, or I don't read a ton of workbooks. Like I try to keep life work, and I don't need more work outside of work. But there's one called Thanks for the Feedback that I recommend to everyone, which instead of a book about giving feedback is a book about receiving feedback. And pretty much my entire job in customer success is constantly receiving feedback, both internally and externally, and figuring out how to process that.
Nice. Do you have like a favorite childhood book?
A childhood book? When I was like a young kid, Boxcar Children's series, top of the list. But like I was a fantasy reader pretty young, so Aragon.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Yeah, Christopher Paolini, also big fan.
That's awesome. What personal values or experiences most influence how you lead a team?
This is another deep one. I find that like I try to lead teams in ways that allow people to meet my high expectations of them, but they have both the context and the support that they need to do that. And I find that if I fail on anything, it's probably because either I set the bar in the wrong spot, or I didn't give enough context, or didn't give enough cushion, support for people to fall into. A lot of that is I had fantastic managers early in my career that were very good at saying, no, you could do better, let me give you a beefier project to work on. And so as much as I can, handing people things that are perhaps scary, like syllabus day kind of scary, where it's like, how am I ever going to do this?
Yeah.
Like that is really where I love watching people succeed there.
Nice. Do you have any tips for using data to tell a compelling story?
Yeah, I think my biggest tip is that data, like you don't just tell a story by reading off numbers. Data is how you figure out where the story could lie. And so the best way to do that is, looking at your spreadsheet or looking at your data and figuring out what number you don't expect. Like what number is there that it doesn't make sense, or it totally defies expectations. And then from there, figuring out both one, why you thought that number would be different, and two, why that number is different than what you thought. And then from there, that's where that story lies. Like telling stories in general, and especially telling stories with data, you have to have some kind of conflict. And telling stories with data, that conflict comes from expectation.
Nice. Yeah, that's super insightful. What's something that your team might be surprised to learn about you outside of work?
I recently told them all this. They won't be surprised anymore, but I'm a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons. Been playing D&D for the past couple of years. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, running Lost Mines of Phandalin right now. Phandaliver, not Phandalin, which is the city. So yeah, if there's any other DMs out there, can definitely use your advice. Hit me up.
That's amazing. I haven't played a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons, but like, have you designed your own character before?
I have. I'm currently playing a separate game, so I have my own player character there. I have also built one shot, and I'm working on a homebrewed campaign. But so far, I've only DM'd modules.
That's awesome. What's like is it like race and jobs and any backstory?
The character that I currently play, oh man, I feel like I'm really revealing a lot. I play a dwarven cleric.
Nice.
Her name's Dina. She's currently on a quest to like go free herself from her like family obligations and burdens. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
I'll let the viewers at home say what that means about me.
That's so cool. I never would have guessed. Any others? Good? Cool. Well, thanks so much for your time. That was really fun.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.